Welcome to the channel, everybody. Tonight we have a good discussion, and the discussion is about being secure in your body. We all know how important that is, so just stick around. We're going to have a good conversation about being secure in your body. Like I said, we're back. We're talking about being secure in your body. And where did this come from? We're talking about episode number 73 of Love and Beyond, the I Do podcast. This is kind of a recap. We like to do this after we have a guest on and sometimes without. And we just kind of recap what we did during the week. So this past week, we had author of the birthday suit book, book one, right? Yes, book one, Mandi Nuttall, and she's here today, and we're going to kind of pick up on that discussion a little bit more, her and Tina. So let me go ahead and get these ladies in here. Welcome, ladies.
Hey.
Hi.
How does it feel over there without me?
It feels great. I got plenty of room, you know what I'm saying? I don't have to share the stage with anybody. I'm doing all good over here.
All right, so how's it going, Mandi? How has
It's going
the book
so
pursuit
good.
been?
Oh, so glad it is 50% out. Part of them are available, but the hardback and the ebook isn't available yet. But our paperback is out, so that's exciting.
Yes, it
Okay,
is.
so let's tell our viewers, since this is live, exactly what your book is about and how it came to be.
Okay. So the title kind of says it all. It's the Birthday Suit Book 1, and it's yearly guides to easily teach children ages 1 to 9 about their body and sex. So it is basically a yearly curriculum to teach starting at age 1, which by the way is for the parents, and then years 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to year 18, which will be in book 2 that comes out in a few more months. So it's just really giving parents all the resources that they need to teach their children. Every year, frequently on their birthday. Not every day. Yes, we do have to teach every day. Sorry, guys.
Yes, we do.
Every day, every year, every minute, right? It's
Yeah.
always
Right.
something new.
It's always a teachable moment.
So
Yeah.
what was the episode this Wednesday, Jason?
Episode number 73. What am I talking about? Jesus.
So episode number 73,
Yes.
we talked about her book and the importance. And the reason why we talk about it and we came on live tonight was to let people know that being secure in your body as a child helps you in your relationship. So would you agree with that, Mandi?
Oh, so much.
Yeah, get into relationships, understanding yourself, knowing your body, knowing your needs and your wants, being able to express that over to your mate and then carrying that into marriage. How important do you think that is for people?
To initially talk about your body, how are you going to do that if you don't understand it and respect it? You're going to be scared. You're going to feel awkward. I've heard of so many couples that have issues with this. Like, we don't talk about that because that's kind of weird and uncomfortable. You got to feel comfortable with this. And if you start when you're young, ideally when you're really, really young, it's going to carry so much into those relationships. If your kid is older, it's not too late because they still have a lot of years to go, right? So you've got to start as soon as you can. If today is that day, do it to start to teach them to know and understand their anatomy and their physiology so that they can communicate exactly what they need to. And, just to feel comfortable in our own skin. Our bodies are amazing.
Yes. I have a quick question for you, Mandi. During your research, what did you find the most common theme was throughout the ladies and the parents that you talked to about what they felt inadequate
Ladies,
about their...
You only spoke with ladies, Mandi?
No, I interviewed a lot of parents. A lot of
So
parents.
So parents.
Yeah.
So parents.
There's 2 of them.
Right.
Right. So what
It's
did you
okay,
find,
Jason.
Mandi?
We got you.
Yeah. So what did you learn, or what was maybe the common thing that ran throughout, your research?
Well, there were a few. I mean, statistically wise, only 21% felt like they were educated from their parents. Only 21% of the people that I interviewed. That is such a little number. However, 99% said that they wish that their children would hear from them first. So parents, as a parent, we want to teach our kids. We do. Do we know how? Sometimes we don't, so we don't. Yeah. But the common theme is our generation, my generation, did not get taught by their parents about their bodies. However, our generation now wants to teach. So those are good things that I saw. People want to, they just don't know how. And it takes a lot of time and effort to know what you want to say. So that's what I've tried to bridge the gap there and say, okay, you say this, teach this on this year, make it really simple, cover all the different topics, and not tell parents what their values should be, but just tell them what things are, and then they can establish their own family values.
I was going to say, so is the book made for males and females?
Oh, yeah. It's a curriculum for parents to teach their children. Both boys and girls. Yes, absolutely.
Wonderful. So do you think that learning at an early age, and it's age appropriate, right? So they're able to teach them at the level in which their children are at.
Yes, correct? The pictures that they teach from are for the really little kids, they're simplified, and a lot of things are like the internal anatomy. Part of it is not completely visible. It's kind of shaded out. They don't need to know about a uterus when they're 3. But they need to know what their vulva is. And like the pictures are very age appropriate. As they get older, the pictures get a little bit more detailed, more anatomy labeled. It was a very intricate process to get these pictures to be right, to be age appropriate. But they're so cool. I love how they turned out.
So I have a question. With parents being able to teach their kids, like you said, because I know my parents didn't teach me. So which made it, we want to be able to share this information with our children so that they hear it from us first. So how do we get comfortable with doing that? Now changing the way it is, because we have to feel comfortable in ourselves in order to teach our children, in order for them to feel comfortable with it. So how does the book help parents also become comfortable talking about this subject?
Okay, the 2 points on there that I love that you said. You have to feel comfortable with yourself first. Whatever happened to make it so you're not comfortable, that needs to be addressed. Why can you not say anatomy? Why do you feel uncomfortable talking about the basic core purpose of sex, which is to create life? Why is that uncomfortable for you? That needs to be addressed first. And then the second thing, if you want to be able to teach this, and this goes for any teacher teaching anything, you have to practice. And as parents, sometimes we're like, oh, I don't know what to say, but well, have you thought about it? Have you practiced it? Like, have you said it out loud? Like, if you're going to go and give a big presentation, you're probably going to practice it, right? So when you're alone, I don't know, in the shower or in the car or weeding, say the words out loud and practice. Yeah. Like, what's the sentence going to sound like to a 5-year-old when they say, how do babies come out? What are you going to say? Like, you got to think about that, and you got to come up with what your answer and response is going to be. So practice. And I teach parents how to do that, especially in lesson 1, how to practice being a good teacher. And then you can study and memorize the lessons if you want of what to say, but I give all instruction of how to approach those questions and how to practice. But say it out loud.
So I'm gonna
say just one thing. So what happened if the kid get ahead of you and he asks a question, but he's not supposed to get that lesson till like 4 or 5? You go, wait a minute, it's not your age time yet. It's not time for that. So do you just go ahead and answer the question?
So you answer it with truth. It has to be truth. We don't want to give them false because they're not going to see you as a trusting source. So you give them the truth to that answer and then redirect to what is in their age. So if they know more than what is in their lesson, that's fine. That's great. Like, for example, we're trying to hold off teaching about the actual act of penetration until lesson 9. But if they already know about it, just don't focus on that. Focus on fertilization, on DNA, on pregnancy and fetal development. Focus on those things. And again, I teach how to do this in the book. And then redirect to what you do want them to learn. So it's great if they have a question, they came to you. Anytime they come to you, just like go have a little party, because that's what you want. You want them to come and talk to you and ask you a question. that means you've done something right. That's great. Celebrate.
So as I was going to say, I wanted to relate it to relationships. So let's fast forward and let's think about relationships in terms of husband and wife or being in a relationship. How do you think this can enhance or better a marriage or relationship between two people when the person actually understands their body or is able to communicate that to their mate, as opposed to them not understanding their body and not knowing how to communicate their likes and dislikes to their mate?
Okay, there's so many things I want to talk about in that question.
Go ahead.
Well, go for it.
Bullet points.
Okay, I follow this cute girl named Style Fit Fatty on Instagram, and she asks all of her followers, like, what are some weird things that you've heard or that people used to believe about their bodies or about sex? And she said there were dozens and dozens of couples that they've heard about, or even some that said this was us, that they thought that you had sex through your belly button. And they would go to fertility specialists and they would say, we can't get pregnant. And I know, what? Like, wait, that doesn't work in your mind, right? And they would go to fertility specialists and and if you ask us fertility specialists, they're probably going to say, well, tell me how you are trying to do this. And many times the couples are completely off of what they're trying to do and how to get pregnant. So first of all, like, okay, that's a pretty extreme example.
Yeah.
But she has gone through and she has posted so many people's responses of what people have thought, the way that their bodies work and the way conception works. And I mean, if that basic knowledge is so critical to be able to, obviously, to procreate, but to have, if you don't have that foundation, how are you going to enhance and create a beautiful relationship if you don't really understand and respect the anatomy and physiology of how this process works? Obviously, that's so important. Something else I wanted to talk about, in teaching as a couple and teaching these lessons to our kids together. I know this sounds interesting, but it's like another nail in our relationship, bond.
Okay.
Teaching this together, it solidifies our relationship even more. Like, it's a really cool thing to sit down with your kid and teach something so cool like this. And afterwards, we honestly just look at each other and we're like, we did that. It bonds us together even more as a couple. And again, just deepens our own respect for procreation and for our own relationship as a married couple. And I want people to understand how much relationships can grow in this topic, and not in a gross way and not in a, casual way, but it truly is a miraculous process,
So
procreation.
How
go ahead.
did you get into this area, into this subject? What made you go into it? So tell us a little bit about your background.
I wasn't like, I want to be a sex therapist. That wasn't my thing. I was, and I don't know how I ended up here, but I mean, just teaching health. Health was my focus, health education.
Okay.
And in college, that's what I studied. And I was a collegiate athlete. And I mean, I was in awe of what our bodies are capable of, athletically and overall physiology. Our physiology is so cool if you study it.
Yes.
But when I taught health education, sex ed was one of the units. And that's after that unit, that's when our class became tight. Each class of 36 kids, that's when all of us felt connected. And I felt connected with each one of the kids individually. And as a class, when we talked about it, we felt connected. And I saw that, like, visibly. You could see how there was more trust, like there was more, the kids were more open, they were more friendly. When they could understand and talk about this together. We had a really fun project in class, and it was called K-AIDS. And that was like our news station. And they had to create a news broadcast with with like, what do you call those? Stories and commercials. Mm-hmm. And they had to talk about STDs and promote, like, I don't know, sorry, I'm trying to think of what it was. It was a really interesting process. Okay. But the kids, they had to say these things together with each other. They had to, talk about, abstinence or talk about STDs and abuse, and they had to talk about it like normally, and as they made these movies. And then we showed them all to everybody in class, and that was their project. And it was just a way to have them converse with each other and talk about this out loud in a safe way.
Right.
But again, these relationships were formed in talking about this and respecting this and not having it be something dirty.
Which
And
made-
I saw that happen, and I've seen it.
Which
Sorry,
made
go
them
ahead.
more comfortable with the conversation, as opposed to thinking of it something that, oh, we're not supposed to talk about it, or like you said, in a gross way, but more in an educational way, as a natural way.
Yeah.
So tell us some of the funny things that you've heard. Have you heard any funny things around kids? Because I know there's probably a few. What kids think?
I can't get the egg out of my head though. I'm sorry.
You want me to tell that story again?
Yes, that was hilarious.
It's my favorite.
If you guys didn't listen to the episode, you guys got to go back and listen to the episode. That was funny. Go ahead, Mandy.
But
I'll tell you again.
This is just how the young mind works, right? If you don't know, you don't know.
Or a 15-year-old mind. That's how old the kid was. So I always got good questions in class. I always got really funny ones. And there was this one kid who always would make out with his girlfriend outside of my door before class. That was like their spot. I don't know if they felt safe there or what, but and it wasn't like oh, let me kiss you. It was very heavy. Probably third base sometimes. I don't know. I'm like, guys, this is right here. Anyway, so that this guy is very involved with his girlfriend, and we were talking about ovulation, and he was back there in the back of the class, and I could just see him like really pondering, what is she talking about? And so I saw him start raising his hand, and I got so excited whenever this kid rose his hand, because you'd get something good from him every time. So he raises his hand and he goes, okay, so an egg once a month, is that like a chicken? So, and I'm like, it's so hard because you don't want to laugh at the kids, but like he honestly thought this girl that he was making out with squats and lays an egg once a month. Yeah. And I've read so many other things, on this Style Fit Fatty. She just barely did this big question and answer asking about all the weird things that like their husbands used to think. And there's things like, boys think that girls can stop their period, like pee, like they just hurry and have a period and then stop. Some guys thought that they keep a tampon in all the time and they only take it out right when they want to have their period. Like just a lot of really weird things.
Well, if you don't know, you don't know.
Exactly. And I don't know what's being taught in health classes. I know a lot of parents waive health classes. Maybe some teachers just don't like to talk about it and they just want to stick with like the other stuff about health. But these are kind of important things to know. And boys should know everything that goes on within a girl. Yeah. Do you think he's going to respect her more about what she's going through if he really understands menstruation and obviously ovulation, that she's not squatting?
I think that's one of the things I told Jason years ago. I think why there's so many young pregnancies is not because they do it intentionally. It's because they don't know. They don't know they can get pregnant on the first time. They some people get pregnant the very first time they have sex and don't even know how they get pregnant.
Yeah.
They're totally confused.
If you teach sex, that sex is the process of creating life. This is how you create life. If that is like the initial core purpose, it's not just to show someone that you love them. That's not the core purpose. It's to create life. And if you let that go and pretend like that's not there, I don't know how I got pregnant. Like, dude, you had sex. That's how you get pregnant, guys.
Right. So they're like, this is my first time having sex. I didn't enjoy it. I don't know what it was about. And now I'm pregnant. And I still don't even understand sex any more than what I did before I had sex. And so that's the problem. Education, education is the key. Knowledge is the power. And I think that's why we have so many, underage or teen pregnancies, because they want, your hormones are raging and you want to, I guess they think that's the thing to do. So you don't really know what to do. And then you have sex and you don't even really understand what your body is doing or
Yeah. If we taught in a way that's not, it's bad, it's dirty, don't do it. Or even just abstinence, like don't do it until you're married.
Exactly.
But if you teach that it is incredible, beautiful, wonderful process. And you teach the when is this appropriate? And not make it. And if they understand all the details and the intricacies as they get older, not when they're young, but as they get older, that's when they're more likely to wait and to save it for when it really needs to be, when in a deep relationship, whichever their definition of that is. But
and the problem is we don't know as kids, and then as an adult, we just kind of grow into certain things, but we never really fully understood the whole process.
Yeah, and if you don't understand as a kid, why are you going to understand as an adult? Honestly, like why? Well, I mean, you might learn a couple new like positions or weird things that you learn like in magazines, but you're not going to learn. You're not going to learn like true. True connection, right? And understand the physiology and how and why it works. Yeah.
We got a comment coming in from Kendra Morrison. Thanks very much. She said, that's good. She likes what she's hearing here.
Oh, good. Oh, good. I'm glad, Kendra. I'm glad.
All right. Any questions from anybody? Well, that is amazing. And I think we have to. So for those parents that missed the mark with their kids, we now have a way to give our kids a book, a tool that they can now educate their kids, because I think this is an important subject. And I know when it was taught in my high school, it was very brief. It was the basics.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I got a comment I got to put on the screen. Okay. Mandy, you can speak to this. That's correct. My mom just said once you get your period, you'll get pregnant. So when I got my period, I thought I was pregnant. Since I started at age 10. I am so
sorry, Kendra. I am sorry. But your story, to make you feel a little bit better, your story is one of millions, and I'd say billions. It's so sad. There's so many things like that that you didn't have to live with that. I saw many kids saying that one time they French kissed for the first time and they were devastated, and they went and told their mom, I'm so sorry I did this. I think I'm pregnant. And she's like, what'd you do? I kissed. You really, guys, you just got to teach these kids. You just got to teach them what's going on. But Kendra, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, good. I was never taught that. We just.
Well, yeah, Tina, go on. What were you taught? Tell me about how you were taught.
I think in high school it was just the basic. What the woman does during the month. Her ovulation and how you get pregnant with the sperm. But it was very basic, and my mom didn't talk about sex at all. And I think when I got older and started dating boys, she would say something, of course she said, briefly hinting, don't have sex, things of that nature. But she never really taught. We were never taught or understood. And you have to educate. So then you're hearing things from your friends who are the same age as you. So you don't know what to believe. You don't know. And so those girls who may have been a little more active, they're saying things that you have no idea what they're talking about. So you have to go to try to find and educate yourself. And if you don't, then you're just one of those adults that grow up and don't really understand their bodies, don't understand why your body is going through what it's going through, what you can do to help yourself. So it's just not just knowing the knowledge, but understanding it and applying it and helping you, especially as women, to navigate. Because by us having a menstrual every month, certain women go through certain things. And if you don't understand the cycles that you're going through emotionally, physically, whatever it's taking, how are you going to understand the purpose of sex when that comes along?
Yeah. Oh, so I agree with all of that. And something else that you said, Tina, if you do hear and learn from your parents, when there is a question, that you will go talk to them again. And as parents, first of all, I just cannot understand how a parent could let a child grow up without teaching them about this. Like, how could you just let them go a whole
this was the unspoken
childhood?
Because it's difficult to talk about, because they're going to ask you some questions that you don't want to answer. And they may ask you some questions about you.
But parenting is hard. How could you just let that go? That's something I don't understand. But the thing that's so cool about what I'm trying to teach is that this is not I'm going to teach you one time or 2 or 3 lessons. I'm going to teach you every year and I'm going to follow up several times, and we're going to answer questions. And so you don't think of all the questions in one lesson. Like, you got to have repeated conversations so that I mean, when they do have something that they've heard at school, then they can ask you during the next time you have a
Absolutely.
conversation,
And feel comfortable
frequently.
about it. Yes.
Yeah.
Not feeling
Yeah.
like your body is shameful, or questions are shameful, or sex is shameful.
Yeah.
Understanding the whole, your whole physiology and everything that encompasses it is such a great tool to have as a woman or a man, because
Yeah.
now you're understanding what you're doing and the whole purpose. And then when you get married, being able to share that with each other, to me, makes it more intimate.
Yeah.
It makes it
Oh,
a
yeah.
tighter connection, because now, if you didn't, let's just say you had sex, early on in your teens, and you didn't understand it. So now you're just having sex, and you don't even, you're doing it just to do it, but you don't understand it. Now you get married, and again, you're the same cycle is happening. That's why
Yeah.
so many women are not enjoying sex in marriage, because they never understood it as a child.
And they
For
see it
sure.
as like their duty, their womanly duty to their husband,
Exactly.
and they don't
Absolutely.
enjoy it. Yeah.
I
That
got
breaks my
another-
heart.
I got another
Yes.
comment.
Okay.
What do you say when they say I have an itch that needs to be scratched? This probably came from a male. I know Kelly. Hey Kelly, Kathy Kelly, how are you? But that's probably came from a male, because that's something that I would.
What is that?
What age? What age is this?
What
That's
age
my
would that be, Kathy? If you're still out there, if you could tell me.
Teenage or little kid? Big difference.
I hope a little kid is not saying I have an itch that needs to be scratched.
Well,
but you never know, right?
Right.
With the internet, and with accessibility to so much, out
There's
there on
so
the
much.
internet, you just never know.
15.
15.
Okay.
What
Okay,
can
this
you
is an
do?
older kid.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, does he understand? Have you taught him? I don't know if this is your child or not. But has the parent taught this child all of the anatomy and the physiology? Has the parent taught that child that it does not need to be scratched? That it is do they understand that sex is the purpose of creating life? Is that the core purpose that they think it is, or do they think it's an itch? Because an itch can just go away real quick. Do they understand the powerful capabilities of creating life? Like, do they know that? It sounds like if someone thinks it's an itch, that's more like an Instagram post. I have an itch. I want to watch something real quick. That does not seem respectful or understood. So that's where I would. I mean, I'm not any kind of a therapist. I'm a mom, but I have a teenage kid, and I would for sure go that route and try to teach, and show and help them understand the anatomy and the physiology and the core purpose, and that it is something to be shared with the person that you revere as that you love the most in your life. And do you know that when you're 15? Do you know, no, just go down to the core purpose.
Yeah, and understanding their bodies, because your body is going through a lot at that age, and you're going to have these feelings. But
and that's okay.
To pair the feelings with education is what makes it more powerful.
Correct.
So we have to be able to have these talks. We have to be able to come out of the closet somewhat in thinking that it's shameful. It's something that you don't talk about. You sweep it under the rug, and you hope that later in life, when they get old enough, it's going to be okay. These are conversations that, no matter how tough you think they are, we need to go pick up a book. So tell us your book, Mandi.
Okay, I will tell you, but I have one more comment on that last question that just came to my head. When I hear that and I read that, I have an itch that needs to be scratched. Does that sound like a selfish desire, or does that sound like connecting with another person in a beautiful way?
Oh, that's selfish.
That just sounds like a selfish. That is all about me. And that's an issue that needs to be addressed there. Okay. So, thebirthdaysuitbooks.com. That's where you can find links to the book. That also have family values journals on there. Right there, you can get your free download, or I have hard copies on Amazon as well. There's many resources on there. If parents want to become a member, they can have these lessons that I will teach to you and your child that you watch together, and then push pause and answer the questions and add your family values. I also interview tons and tons of parents and kids. I encourage them to do the interview process on here. Just a free anonymous interview. And then you can have access to all of those answers from other parents and get advice of what they're doing and hear what kids wish their parents would do better. That's all within the membership. So I'm just trying to give parents as many resources as possible to get out there and teach their kids.
And I think that's the biggest issue that we have today is that our generation hasn't been taught, and therefore it's time to stop that.
Let's
stop
be
it
better.
from being passed down. Yeah, let's be better, especially now when we have so many tools, so many things available to us that we can teach. And the thing is that if we're not teaching, then they're learning on their own, as in, I have an itch to be scratched. This is something that his emotions are feeling. And so he's looking to his peers, and what are they doing? Right? So he's getting educated from his peers who also think this is the natural and normal way. So it's now time, let's educate, whether it's our kids, our grandkids, our neighbors, people on the block. If you see someone that needs to be educated, maybe you should give them a gift this Christmas, right? So we're going to give them the gift of the birthday suit books 1 and 2. But Mandi only has one out, which is from years 1 through 9, right? From your first year to 9 year. But then book 2 is coming out real soon, right?
Few months, yes. Few months.
Right. So you want to tell us when you want to say anything else about the books or anything else?
I just want to say, if parents feel guilty at all right now for not teaching earlier, don't feel that. I love the quote, the best day to plant a tree was 10 years ago, but the next best day is today.
All right.
Don't give up and don't feel guilty that you haven't. Just be better starting today.
Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power, guys. We have to educate our youth. That is the problem. We have to educate our youth, and especially our children, which if we start today with better education, it leads to better beings, better relationships, and better marriages. And that's what we're all about. How to make better marriages, because it is possible, because we can be happy and married, right? But we have to educate ourselves
Amen.
all throughout the process. So we have 3 happy and married people right here.
That's right.
All right. Well, I think that's it for me. Anything with you, Jason?
Just a quick reminder that the podcast is released every Wednesday. So Love and Beyond the I Do is released every Wednesday wherever you get your podcast delivered. Also, you can check out our YouTube, which is you go to youtube.com and then type in Love and Beyond the I Do. You will check out Mandi's episode on there and a lot of others. And all of the information to contact Mandi will be in the show notes of the Apple Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast, and also on the YouTube page. So don't forget, check us out every Wednesday. If you have not subscribed to Legendary Relationships YouTube, you should do that now. Like it, share it, and subscribe, because we're bringing nice content to you so you can have a better relationship, learn how to parent better, whether your kids are grown or not. The grandkids are coming. It's time, right? We still have to do this.
What's funny is maybe some married couples can go out there and buy that book and learn some stuff.
For sure.
Most likely, yes.
Yes.
Most likely they will learn something. Even the 1 through 9, ages 1 through 9, I bet you they will.
Yeah.
Why I say that is because I homeschool, and when I went through it, I homeschooled my boys up into 8th grade, and then I homeschooled my daughter all the way through high school. And every year I learned something new. Right. So I was like, oh, wow, I must have missed that the first 3 years. The first time I went, and then they went, and now my daughter. So guarantee you can pick up this book for yourself. If you feel like you're one of those people who maybe didn't get that education early on, maybe you can pick up Mandi's book too, to maybe start basic, understanding our bodies, feeling secure in our bodies, and not making it a shameful thing. So Jason, why don't you put Mandi's book back up on the screen one more time, and Mandi, tell us everything where we can find it, when it's coming out, and all the information one more time.
So right now the paperback is available at Amazon.com, and if you click right there on Get the Book, or go to the books and go to Shop the Collection, you can get those. I actually think that top right link might not be working at the moment. I've been trying to get that to work, but if you scroll down and it says Get the Book, you can get it.
Okay.
On Facebook and Instagram, right there, click that. You can get it.
Get it right here, guys. Go ahead and get it.
On Facebook and Instagram, we're at the Birthday Suit Books, and everything's right there on the website. And I'd love to do anything that I can. Oh, right here, this is fun. That 3-day challenge, that's in a couple weeks. That's where I walk you through the whole process and teach you how to teach and teach you why this is important. So that's a free challenge that's coming up in the next 16 days. So yeah, we got this, parents. We can do hard things.
That's right.
Together, right?
Right,
Together.
exactly.
Right.
Yes, we can.
It takes a village. Well, thank you, Mandi. I think that sums up another Friday Night Live.
Yeah.
How about you, right?
Yes. All right, hold on one second. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. Go out and grab Mandi's book at thebirthdaysuitbooks.com or you can get it on Amazon. So search it there on Amazon as well. Go out and get the book. Let's go ahead and educate these kids so they'll be fully equipped to become smart adults or aware adults, and just make them better adults and let them have a better start to their relationship as adults. Let's go ahead and help these kids out. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you.
Thanks.